Good morning, my name's Larry Gerbery. I'm a very grateful survivor of sudden cardiac arrest. This happened March 19th of last year, so I haven't had my first anniversary yet, but I'm looking forward to celebrating that day. It was a 90-degree day in Phoenix. I was there with my partner. It was end of March, as I mentioned, so we were anxious to get one last ski run in. I had skied 4 or 5 times prior to this. So we drove up to Flagstaff, to the ski resort there. That's 9,200 feet elevation. And my partner was going to take a lesson, but I had time before the lesson was scheduled to do one run. So I put on the skis, I went up the hill, skied partway down, and I seemed to be a little out of breath, but I'm not surprised at that altitude because Phoenix is only 1,000 feet. And stopped, caught my breath, went another third of the way down, and still felt a little winded, caught my breath, skied to the bottom because I was going to help my partner get ready for her lesson. Took my skis off, bent down to pick them up, and I went down too. So fortunately, I went down right next to the ER doctor, the Flagstaff Hospital, Nicholas Haubacher, who diagnosed it very promptly, got somebody to do the CPR immediately, and sent somebody to get the AED at the lodge, which was, I don't know, maybe a couple hundred yards away at most. Before collapsing, I felt a little nauseous, I think, and dizzy, and I remember thinking to myself, well, I'll just fight this off, but that's the last thing I recall. So when I came to in the sled that was attached to a snowmobile, and the paramedics were there trying to remove my ski jacket, which I protested. I said, don't cut my ski jacket off. Now, I already was bare-chested because the AED had to be administered, but they wanted to go ahead and put the leads on for the EKG. So they didn't listen to me, and they went ahead and cut my ski jacket off in the shreds. But when I did come to, I advised them where my phone was and how to contact my partner, and told some of them, surprisingly, that the iPhone has all your medical information readily available and how to access that. And to my amazement, they learned that from me. So anyway, they got the phone call to my partner, and the ski patrol, who I greatly appreciate, found her in the locker room getting ready, and brought her over to me. When I did wake up, I was on the way to the helicopter pad, and I was helicoptered over to Flagstaff Medical Center for the ER. The next day later, I met Dr. Haubacher and had a conversation with him, and of course there isn't anything that you can really say to somebody who saved your life in appreciation. I mean, that's what you want to do, really. There's so many people that were involved, the ski patrol and them, the people who got the AED. And I was just so fortunate to have this occur where it did. When I fell, I had my helmet on. I fell on snow, which is soft, rather than over a cliff or something. It was cold, so my body cooled. And it just goes to show you that when you start CPR immediately and you get your AED, you can survive. And I'm one of the, which I recognize now, very few people who have survived with very little complications. As I got more involved and studied sudden cardiac arrest, I know that people have been in comas for a while, and the poor family is on pins and needles. But luckily, my loved ones didn't witness the event, and only saw me after I was resuscitated. I don't know if I mentioned, when I did come to in the sled with all the activity, I wasn't surprised at all that was happening to me. So again, I want to share with you, this is my CPR bystander card. I'm retired. I was never in the medical profession, but wanted to know what to do in the event I was witnessing a CPR event, and I got my third renewal on March 6th, and my event was the 19th. So go ahead and get trained on CPR and how to use the AED, because you never know when you're going to be in a position to help. And if you are in a position to help and save life, I mean, you are just, it's got to be the greatest feeling in the world. I'm here because we're in 2020-2000 time period, and the technology exists to support saving lives, and the message has already gotten out pretty much, maybe not enough, to have AEDs available all over the place. Because really, this was the case where I was healthy, I was fine, I was skiing, I was doing my sports, then I was dead. And after I got revived through the technology and the training of the people, I was back to myself again, which is a miracle, and I appreciate not everybody has the successful experience that I had. And my heart goes out to them. I mean, it's just, it's like survivor guilt. I survived, but I survived completely, and other people struggle with that. And they struggle because they don't have the response that I have. Well, I would say one thing, to make them more readily available so they're everywhere, particularly in senior centers now. I'm going to go home and check and make sure our senior center has a AED, although we have a local ambulance corps. But they seem to me pretty easy to use with today's technology.